What's up, everyone? It's Bones here. In today's Duelist Nexus video, we'll be doing some spacefaring as we make a quick stop in Colorium for some more Visa Starfrost lore. But before that, if you're a fan of in-depth combo videos and some out-of-the-box ideas, then summon out your own Visa Starfrost by destroying those thumbs up and subscribe buttons. Lastly, I'll have a picture of the blank card somewhere on the screen for reference of what it is. So to start, I want to read Mannadium Trid. It is a level 2 fire tuner, and it reads, if you control a Visa Starfrost or a monster with 1500 attack, 2100 defense, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Trid once per turn this way. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one Mannadium tuner from your deck. You can only use this effect of Trid once per turn. So unlike its two other cousins, its special summon from the deck effect is a hard once per turn, and this one happens to summon any other, so it's basically 3 more copies of Mannadium Meek. So to start this combo, we're going to normal summon the Trid, as we'll be able to pop it with the Visa Starfrost and then special summon out the Visa so that we can get the Trid effect in order to get the copy of Meek. And now we can go into our Lightheart, as we'll be able to use the Lightheart to get our Reichart, or the Reichphobia so that we can get our Reichart, and then we'll get ourselves the Reichart off the Reichphobia, special summon out the Reichart, as we'll be able to search the Arrival. And now we can go into our Cross Sheep, as now we can activate the Arrival, and with a level 6 tuner and a level 2 tuner, we can actually synchro summon / link summon, which is really what it feels like, for the Visa's Am I Right? Or no, I'm kidding, it's Visa's Amitara, and it takes 1 tuners plus 1 light monster. It reads, this card's name becomes Visa Starfrost while in the monster zone. You can only use each of the following effects of Amitara once per turn. If this card is synchro summoned, you can add 1 spell trap that mentions Visa Starfrost from your deck to your hand. During your main phase, you can destroy 1 monster you control. Also, for the rest of this turn, all synchro monsters you control will gain 800 attack. And this is a really strong card because of its summoning requirements. I would like to point out that in Age of the Overlords, our next core set, we are getting a level 6 tuner that happens to special out another tuner, and this can be made off of that level 6, which can really lead to some crazy stuff down the line. But we're going to continue here by getting the search effect for a Mannadium spell trap, as we're going to get ourselves the colorium, activate the colorium in order to get ourselves a search for the Reichart, and you're going to see Reichart quite a bit in this video, as it's gotten a lot stronger with the new support in this set. And we're going to use the Cross Sheep off of the Vicious Summon, as we'll get back the Meek, use the effect of the Reichart, or the Reichart, in order to special summon it popping the Meek, and then use the colorium to revive the Meek, as we'll chain link 3 the Mannadium Reichart for the counter trap so that we can play around the Dark Ruler. And we're now going to bring out the Meek and make it level 4, then use the effect of the Amitara so that we can pop the Meek, and then use the Meek in order to get another level 4 Meek out. And this is important because we're going to go into Axel, use its effect to bring back a Meek, go into Baron. Now we can go into our Crimson Dragon, which is a new level 12 if you didn't watch my Synchron video. It's basically a generic 12 that reads, if this card is special summoned, you can add 1 spell trap that mentions the Crimson Dragon from your deck to your hand. But that effect really doesn't matter here. The one that you want is the quick effect. You can target 1 level 7 or higher synchro monster on the field except the Crimson Dragon, return this card to the extra deck, and if you do, special summon 1 dragon synchro monster with the same level as the targeted monster from your extra deck. This is treated as a synchro summon. You can only use each effect of the Crimson Dragon once per turn, and the possibilities are pretty large here with the amount of things that you can bring out from the extra deck, as I'll show in this video. So we're going to bring out the Dispatter off of it, and the Dispatter will bring back the Visa Starfrost, as now we can use the Lightheart to revive itself and get our materials for the Appaloosa, as we'll now be able to make another Vicious, and then go into our Hope Harbinger if you would like to, as we set our counter trap and end on that. Now for the second combo, we have the Obsession along with the Trid, and we're going to normal summon the Trid, as we can now activate the Obsession in order to pop it, get ourselves access into the colorium along with the Meek, and from here we're going to activate the colorium, as we'll be able to search ourselves for the Visa Starfrost, then activate Visa Starfrost, popping them. We'll get the special summon off of the Meek along with the colorium, which will give us 2 more bodies on board, as we're going to make one of the Meeks level 4 for later, as we're then going to get ourselves the Lightheart search for the Reichphobia, activate the Reichphobia, get ourselves the search for the Reichart, special summon out the Reichart, use its effect in order to get the draw and the Arrival, as we're then going to go into Cross Sheep, use the Arrival's effect in order to bring out the Visa so that we can go into our and then use the Amitara in order to get ourselves the search for the counter trap, go into our Vicious, Vicious, as we can now use the Cross Sheep off of the Vicious summon to get back our Meek, then go into the Crimson Dragon, use the Crimson Dragon targeting the Visas, as we'll then be able to use the effect of the Axel, and then get back a copy of Meek, giving us access to a Baron, which now we can use the Lightheart to bring that back, and then go into our Appaloosa as we can set the counter trap and end on that. For this third combo, and you'll notice a familiar face that you've probably seen in my last couple of videos if you've watched them, the Revolution Synchron, and this is just a Synchro from hand for a level 7 or 8 Synchro monster, as long as the levels add up with whatever you're Synchro summoning with. And then in the graveyard, it has a once per duel effect similar to Glow Up Bulb, where you can just mill one, special summon it back, and it even comes back as a level 1, and it is an Earth Tuner, so there is Nap Beast plays if you want to play something that can do that, but we're going to use our reichart in order to get ourselves the search for the Trid, then use the Revolution Synchron along with the Mannadium reichart for our Ancient Fairy Dragon, bring out the Trid, or bring out the Revolution Synchron, as now we can go into Amritara. We'll use the Amritara, which is going to allow us to search out the Obsession so that we can special summon out the Trid, since the Amritara is always Visa Starfrost while on the field, and then we can use the Obsession to pop our Trid, get ourselves access into the Meek while adding our Colorium. Now we'll activate the Colorium, as we're going to be able to add ourselves the Visa Starfrost, and then we can activate the Visa Starfrost, popping the Meek, and then we can get ourselves the summon off of the Colorium and the Meek, as that'll give us 2 more bodies on board, along with the level manipulation that we get from the summon from deck, as we're going to go into our Lightheart, get ourselves the Reichphobia, activate the Reichphobia, get ourselves the Reichart, and you've seen this before, we're going to special summon out the Reichart, get ourselves the search for the Arrival and a draw, activate the Arrival for the Visa so that we can go into our Baron, and from here we can go into the Cross Sheep, go into our Visas Estroud, or the Vicious Estroud, and then we can get back the Reichart off of the Cross Sheep so that we can go into our Crimson Dragon, still have a level 4 on board, as we're going to use the Crimson Dragon to go into our Dispatter. The Dispatter can bring back the Visas, and then we can go into another level 10 Synchro, as we're going to go into our Chengying, and finally we can use our Lightheart so that we can use our 3 non-interruptions to go into Appaloosa and end our board on that. Now for this next combo, we have Reichart plus the Trid, and we're going to start here by normal summoning the Reichart, using its effect in order to get ourselves the search for the Obsession, much like before, as we're going to special summon out the Trid so that we can get access into our Meek along with the Colorium. Then we'll get ourselves the special summon of the Meek, as we'll activate the Colorium, get ourselves the search for the Visas. Then we can use the effect of the Obsession, which will allow us to bring out the Visas. And I would like to point out that this is a combo that I grabbed from another channel, which gave me some of the concepts of this deck, and I will link them down below. I believe the name of the channel is NW, but we're going to then go into the Baron here, and this is pretty nice being able to protect our plays from here, as we're going to use the Vicious in order to pop the Meek, and then we can get ourselves the effect of the Meek and the Colorium, as we'll be able to get ourselves the 2 bodies along with the level manipulation, so we can go into the Crimson Dragon much earlier this time. We'll target the Baron, bringing out the Dispatter, then bring out the Visas off of the Dispatter, as we'll then be able to go into our Lightheart, use the Lightheart to get ourselves the Reichphobia, then activate the Reichphobia in order to get ourselves the Reichart, and then special summon out the Reichart to get ourselves the search for the Arrival, as now we can get the draw as well, bring back the Visas, and from here we can go into our Amritara, as we're going to use the Amritara in order to search ourselves the counter trap. Now we can go into our Cross Sheep, as we'll be able to bring out the Visas, or the Vicious Estroud, in order to trigger a Cross Sheep, and then bring back the Meek, go into our Crimson, go into our Bishbalkin. The Bishbalkin can then summon 2 tokens onto our field and our opponents. We're then going to use the 2 tokens and the Cross Sheep to go into our Abomination, use the effect of Reichphobia to pop the token, as then we can use the effect of the Abomination to pop the other token, clearing their board, and then we can go onto our opponent's turn, where we can use the Crimson Dragon targeting the Bishbalkin and go into our Hot Red King Calamity so that we can stop our opponent from playing. Now, of course, in a real game you may want to set the counter trap, but the main point of this is to show the Hot Red King Calamity play. Now for this next one, because that play does take a good chunk of extra deck space, I want to show what you would do in a more optimal build in my opinion, just because of the extra deck space. So we're going to get ourselves the special summon of Trid, activate the Obsession, as we'll be able to get ourselves the Colorium, then activate the Trid in order to get ourselves the Meek, activate our Colorium, which will allow us to add the Visas. Now we can use the Obsession in order to special summon out the Visas, go into our Baron, go into our Vicious, as we'll be able to pop the Meek, and then from here we can use the Meek's effect along with the Colorium in order order to get the 2 extra bodies out along with the level manipulation, as we'll be able to go to our Crimson Dragon, use the Crimson Dragon to bring out the Dispatter. The Dispatter can bring out Visas. Now we can go into our Amritara or the Lightheart, as we'll use the Lightheart in order to get ourselves the search for the Reichphobia, add ourselves the Reichart off of the Reichphobia, as now we can special summon out the Reichart and get ourselves the search and the draw, and we'll get ourselves the Arrival, activate the Arrival to get back the Visas. Now we can go into our Amritara, as we can use its effect in order to get a search for the Counter Trap. Then we'll continue by going into the Cross Sheep, going into our Vicious, as we can then use the Cross Sheep in order to bring back the Meek, and then we can use the Baron in order to pop the Meek, use the Meek's effect in order to get another copy of itself out, make it level 4 so that we can go into the Crimson, use the Lightheart in order to give us the materials for the Appaloosa. Then we can pass on to our opponent's turn, where we'll be able to use the Crimson Dragon at any point in order to go into the level 10 Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon for an extra spell and trap negation. Now for these next couple of combos, I want to show off Reichart along with Assault Synchron, as we'll start by normal summoning the Reichart, getting ourselves the search for the Trid. We can then special summon out the Trid. We'll go into the Triage Master, and the Triage Master is important because it's basically a Stardust Charge Warrior that's a light monster, and we do need a light monster in order to go into our Amritara, so this makes the Reichart and the Assault Synchron an Amritara, which just gets you into your plays. We can get ourselves the Colorium, as we'll activate the Colorium, get ourselves the search for the Meek, as we'll then be able to special summon out the Meek, use the effect of Amritara to pop the Meek and get ourselves the summons off of the Colorium and the Meek so that we can get the level 4 Meek from deck along with another body. So we'll go into our Lightheart off the Amritara now because it is Visas on board, and then we'll add ourselves the Reichphobia, get ourselves the Reichart, as we'll then be able to special summon out the Reichart, get its search for the Arrival along with the draw, as we'll then be able to go into Cross Sheep, activate the Arrival, we'll get back the Reichart, as we'll now be able to go into our Axel, use the Axel in order to get back Meek, but we'll also use the effect to tribute it off and go into our Stardust, as for this specific combo you do need it, just so that you can make a bigger board if you go this route. But we're going to go into our Baron, then bring back our Meek, as we'll be able to use the effect of the Axel to bring back the Axel, or use the Assault to bring back the Axel, and then trigger the Cross Sheep, as we'll be able. Now, if you don't want to play the Stardust Dragon, this is another approach that you can take, so we'll start here by activating the Reichart in order to get ourselves the Trid, and then we'll special summon out the Trid to go into our Triage, get ourselves a draw, as we'll then be able to special summon out the Assault Synchron so that we can go into our Amritara, and then the Amritara will be able to add ourselves the Colorium, as this will be able to net us a search for the Meek, as we'll then be able to special summon out the Meek and use the Visas or use the Amritara to pop the Meek. Then we can bring out the Meek along with the other one from deck, as we'll be able to use the effect to change it to level 4, and then use the effect of the Lightheart to get ourselves the Reichphobia, as we're going to get ourselves the Visas this time around. Use our Visa Starfrost to pop the Meek, as we'll be able to special summon out another copy of Meek, and then we can go into our Cross Sheep, as we'll then be able to get ourselves the Vicious, use the effect of Cross Sheep to bring back the Trid. We'll then go into our Baron, go into our Appo from here, and we'll end our board on that. Now for our penultimate combo, I do want to show Reichart plus the Revolution Synchron, because you still have to know how to play the hand where you get the Reichart. So we're going to normal summon the Reichart, use its effect in order to get ourselves the Arrival, then go into our Ancient Fairy Dragon, as we can use the effect of the Revolution Synchron in order to get access into our Amritara, use the Amritara to get ourselves the Colorium, and from here we can use the Arrival in order to get back the Scareclaw Reichart. Then we can go into our Lightheart, as we'll use the effect of the Lightheart to get ourselves the Reichphobia. The Reichphobia can now get us our Visas, as we can then use the Colorium in order to get ourselves the Meek, and from here we can special summon out the Meek, and then use the effect of the Visa so that we can trigger the Colorium along with the Meek in the graveyard, giving us the 2 extra bodies and ability to level manipulate, as we're going to bring out the 2 Meeks, and then we're going to go into our Cross Sheep, bring out our Vicious, use the effect of the Cross Sheep to bring out a copy of Revolution Synchron, since it's really the only target, then go into our Crimson Dragon, which will allow us to use its effect targeting the Visas. Then we'll go into our Axel, use its effect in order to bring back a level 2 tuner, go into the Disc Patter. Now we can use the Lightheart in order to bring itself back. We'll go into a 4 material Appaloosa, as we can now use the Disc Patter in order to bring back the Reichart, and this will give us access into the Crimson Dragon, which is pretty cool because it means we can go onto our opponent's turn and then use its effect in order to bring out the Clear Crystal Wing or whatever else you want to go into. Now for this final combo, I do want to show off this level 8, I'm going to call it Darth Vader, and it reads, if a card on the field is destroyed by a card effect and Visa Starfrost is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then you can add 1 Clear New World from your deck or graveyard to your hand. If another monster in your possession is destroyed by a card effect, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy it. And if you do, this card gains attack equal to that monster's original attack until the end of this turn. You can only use each effect of Darth Vader once per turn. And this is just an extender for when you pop your stuff, and in Mannadium you're actually doing that quite a bit. So we're going to start here by activating the Visas, popping the Meek, and then getting ourselves the 2 bodies on board, as we'll be able to special summon out the Darth Vader and the Meek, getting ourselves the Clear New World. And from here we can then go into our Baron, as we'll be able to go into our Lightheart, use the effect of the Lightheart in order to get our Reichphobia, activate the Reichphobia in order to search ourselves the Reichart, and then we can special summon out the Reichart, get ourselves the search for the Arrival, as now we can go into our Cross Sheep, go into our Vicious, use the Cross Sheep in order to bring back a copy of Meek. We'll then be able to use the Baron in order to pop the Meek so that we can bring out another copy of Meek and change its level so that we can go into our Crimson Dragon, then use the Crimson Dragon targeting the Baron to bring out the Disc Patter, use the Visas in order to bring back the Visas, or use the Disc Patter to bring back the Visas, bring back the Lightheart with its effect, and then use the Clear New World, popping the Visas in order to bring out the Assault Synchron, as we're then going to activate our Arrival so that we can bring back the Visas, getting us access into the Amritara, and then we can use the Amritara in order to get ourselves the Reframing so that we can go into our Appaloosa from here, set the Counter Trap, and we can end. So with all of the combos out of the way, we can get onto the deck profile, and you'll notice that I'm not main decking the Darth Vader. I do think if you go over 40 and want to play a heavier combo build, maybe there's a chance you can add this along with the Clear New World. There's also the Pristine Planet's Amritara, which is another extender field spell. It reads, activate this card only if Visa Starfrost is on the field, which is now easier because of Amritara. But also, once per turn, if a monster as you control is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard or banished, which is basically what Mannadium does, you can activate one of these effects, special summon one of them in defense position, 1 tuner on the field gains attack equal to half of the attack of one of them, shuffle one of them into the deck, and if you do draw 1 card, shuffle this card into the deck, and if you do add 1 field spell from your graveyard to your hand. Then we have the World as 1, which reads activate one of these effects, special summon 1 monster with 1500, 2100 defense from your graveyard, shuffle 5 of your monsters that are banished face up on your field and or in your graveyard into the deck, 1 Visa Starfrost and 4 monsters with 1500 attack, 2100 defense, and if you do, special summon 1 Visa Synchro monster from your extra deck. This is treated as a Synchro summon. You can only activate 1 The World as 1 per turn. Then we have the 2 trap cards. New World Full of Stars is a continuous trap that reads, the first time each monster you control would be destroyed by battle each turn while you control Visa Starfrost, it is not destroyed. During your end phase, if you control Visa Starfrost, you can target 1 monster in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck, or if you control a tuner Synchro monster, you can add it to your hand instead. You can only use this effect of New World Full of Stars once per turn. Finally, we have the New World Formation, which is a normal trap, and it reads, target 1 spell trap in your graveyard that mentions Visa Starfrost, set it, and if it is a trap or quick play spell, you can activate it this turn. And you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 3 spell traps in your graveyard that mention Visa Starfrost except New World Formation, shuffle them into the deck. You can only use each of the effects of New World Formation once per turn. So in reality, I really don't think that you need any of these cards, as with what you see in the main deck, regardless of the ratios, really, if you want to adjust any to your own liking, you can do enough to build a good enough board to contend with, which is why I think that the going second cards are so important for this deck, as you already have so many things that you can combo off with. Outside of that, the deck definitely does have options, as it was already a deck with a plethora of options before, but now you even have options within the Crimson Crimson Dragon, where you can summon out stuff like Trident Dragon if you want pops and stuff like that. The Bish Balkan also has weird plays that you can do with it if you want to make something out of fun. But then there's also the fact that you can play a higher Bestial count, like the top 16 listed in the North American WCQ. I don't remember if it was top 16 or top 32. May have even been top 64. I don't quite remember, but that is another option that you can go with this deck. You'll also see that the Stardust Dragon was an option in one of the combos that you can play if you want to go that approach about it, but I do think that with adding the Crimson Dragon to the extra deck and wanting to keep stuff like the number 38 for when you have a blank Amritara on board makes it important for you to conserve your extra deck space for the things that you need. Now, the only reason that Crystal Wing isn't in here is because the Ancient Fairy Dragon can either go into your Amritara, as you saw, or it can go into your Axel, so I don't really think that you need it. But it is another option that you have if you want to play around Nibiru a little bit more consistently. That being said, you saw that there are lines that you can take where you can actually make the Baron before the 5th summon and play around Nib that way. Now, onto the main deck, you'll notice that we're on the 3 Trid, and I do this because it's basically just another 3 copies of Meek. If you see one and then pop it, you can search out your Meek and then start cycling through them while also being able to level manipulate. So I've basically just replaced it completely for the Fearless so that we're also not bricking on the small tuners either, which is why I don't play the Fearless. Then we have the 2 Obsession along with the Reframing. I wanted to keep this deck at 40, which is why I'm not on the 3 Obsession. There is an argument if you want to move it down to 1, if you want to adjust your main deck to do some other stuff like playing the higher Bestial count, maybe changing around the ratios of your Synchrons, like you can play 2 Assault and 1 Revolution Synchron with 3 tuning, or you can do the 3-3. It really just depends on what you want to do. But outside of that, I do think everything is standard, despite the big changes that the deck goes through in this set. So with all of that out of the way, I'll get onto the card by card, and we have the 1 Reichart, we have the 3 Riemhart, the Reichphobia, the 3 Visas, the Arrival, the 3 Revolution Synchron, the 1 Rhoda, the 3 Assault Synchron, the 2 Obsession, the 1 Reframing, the 3 Colorium, the 3 Trids, the 3 Meek, the 1 Magnahut, Baldrake, and Druis Worm. This can be adjusted to your liking as well. Then we have the Thrust, the 2 Talents, the Dark Ruler, which I do think will become even better as Duelist Nexus comes out, because I think that a lot of the power is going to change with Duelist Nexus, and there's going to be more combo decks as well, like Infernobles, which may not even be top tier, but I still think that it's good enough to prepare for. And same thing with stuff like Unchained and other combo decks that just come out of the woodworks, with Revolution Synchron and Assault Synchron being at 3 here in the TCG. Then we finally have the 3 Imperm to round out the main deck. Then for the extra deck, we have the 1 Tri-Edge Master, Light, level 6, draw 1, Ancient Fairy Dragon, Axel, Amritara or Am I Right, Baron, Cheng Ying, the Clear Wing, Dispatter, Crimson Dragon, Hope, the 2 Vicious, 1 Lightheart, Cross Sheep, and Appaloosa to round out the deck profile. So for everyone who's made it this far, I'd like to thank you for watching and for the 500 plus subs. I truly appreciate your support, and now that we've monetized the channel, giving us access to supers and memberships, which means that more awesome stuff is on the horizon. To get the channel membership, just click on the description below, and there will be a link that takes you there. You'll also notice a free Discord link that I made for us too. If you want to support me as a content creator, even if you can't donate supers or get a membership for the channel, clicking on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons help a lot too. For those wondering, I do plan on making updates to the channel as the support on the channel grows. But anyways, I hope to see you in the next one. It's Bones, signing out.